Hello, I'm Professor Plinio Monteiro, and this lecture is aimed to present the main decisions related to international marketing communications. In these and the next videos, I'm going to explain different types of communication approaches that can be used to reach global audiences. Also, I will describe and explain the major steps for making your advertisement decisions. Also, I will discuss the advantages and disadvantages of using standardized international communications. And finally, I'm going to explain the major implications of digital marketing for global communications campaigns. Let's start our lecture by presenting the concept of global marketing communications. So, this concept is related to how you're going to manage your global promotion and sales, trying to reach different audiences worldwide by using different media, and especially how can you find out a fit between resources, objectives, messages, media, the total reach, and also the regional and global audiences. So all these tasks will be aimed to achieve your marketing objectives. And of course, global communications, it's a very important aspect and decision in international marketing. But we need to be aware that it's necessary to have a very clear definition of the previous steps, like the understanding of the target market, the political and economical conditions, social cultural differences, and then also know how you're going to operate in each market, how you're going to deliver your products, what kind of adaptations you're going to use, and so on. So the communication step is the last one. Is usually the step that we can see. It's more easy for people to see this task, this marketing task. But of course, the previous steps are really important to make global marketing communications effective. And in this case, the primary question that we will answer during this stage is the answer between how will be the degree of adaptation and standardization of our promotional strategy from region to country to country. So keep this big question in mind when we think about international marketing communications. What will be adapted and what will be standardized when you move from country to country. Regarding the communication process, we usually have some models to understand how we're going to deliver the message to a target market. In the context of international marketing, we need to be aware that most of times we need to understand that we will have a contest in the home country, and usually the sender and the message will be in this contest in the home country, and usually the channel and the media will be in the foreign country or in the target country, and also will be the audience, and in that case the receiver of the message. Since we have two different contests, home country and host country contest, then we need to understand that the model of communication need to take into account all the differences that can exist between home country and host country. For instance, language differences. These are the basic ones. So even if you are not going to adapt your strategy, your communication approach, most of the time you need to translate and take care with translations, because sometimes when you translate from one language to another, you can bring some negative aspects with to your message. Also, take into account the economic differences. So the economic growth, the level of development, and so on. Very important to note the social cultural differences. In that case, these factors can have a huge impact in the way that people will interpret your message, and as such, this can have a huge impact in the way that people will learn from your campaigns. Also, you can have many legal regulatory differences that will demand to adapt your campaigns or to change your campaigns sometimes. And finally, what are the competitors? What are the competitive advantages of each competitor comparing to home country and host country? So remember to the full model here, we have the countries of home country, and here we have the sender. The sender, basically the firm that will try to deliver a message to a target group. Of course, the sender needs to translate the message in a way that will make sense to the target market, not only in terms of language, but especially in terms of the meaning and the symbols behind the message. And this message and sender in the home country need to send this message to a foreign country. And usually the channel or media decisions will be in this foreign country. So the sender and the decision makers will need to choose the best media to reach the audiences in each target market. And finally, this media will need to achieve the receiver or the audience, or basically the potential customer. Of course, you have also another challenge here, that is the challenge of the feedback, because you have customers in another country and you need to have feedback from them, like the sales and satisfaction and customer retention. And making it more difficult, this process, we have a lot of noise that can occur in this international communications approach. And in that case, this can bring especially a lot of challenges for international marketers. We have many challenges in managing global communications. Let me explain some of these challenges, the major ones. First, we have the legal and tax considerations. Sometimes you need to make investment abroad, and sometimes you need to hire an agency in home country, and then this agency you need to hire media channels in the host country. And all these elements can bring a lot of challenges on how you're going to deal with tax and currency. Also, we have language limitations. Many times, making a translation of a campaign is not so easy, and sometimes you can adapt some expressions to make more sense in the foreign language, but sometimes this is not enough, and other times you need to adapt a lot of elements of the language to make it clear your message. In terms of cultural diversity, we also have a huge challenge, because this will imply that sometimes you need not only to adapt the language, but it will be mandatory to adapt your message itself, what you're trying to sell, your unique selling proposition. So what are the elements that you're going to use to convince your customers to buy your product? So cultural diversity, it's a huge challenge, and even nowadays where we have a trend to have more homogeneity, we still have a lot of differences in terms of culture between different countries and regions in the world. Also, we have media limitations. And sometimes you're going to create a campaign for a country, trying to target a group with a specific media mix. But if you go to another country, probably the same target group will not have the same presence, or the same they will not have the same access to this media. This means that sometimes you need to change your media mix to make it more clear your campaigns worldwide. For instance, even nowadays, printed campaigns are very useful in China because we have some limitations in the usage of internet. And finally, you have production and cost limitations. So at the same time that you have the production cost limitations for making business abroad, you also have it for managing your global communications. This can mean that sometimes you rent it to a country and the cost of a given media will be expensive, or in other countries can be so low. And these costs and this cost and production differences can pose additional challenges to create your global communication campaign. With these challenges and the general communication process in mind, we need to set the steps for delivering our global marketing campaigns. What are these steps? This is a brief of the general process for delivering an international marketing campaign. You will start by setting your objectives, and this will be related to your communication campaigns, communication objectives, like increasing brand awareness or increasing brand equity, and also some more tangible objectives like the sales objectives or financial objectives. After setting your objectives, then you need to set your budget. In that case, you need to select one of the different approaches that can be used for delivering or for finding the budget for your campaign. After that, you need to make two complementary decisions. First, the message decisions, basically related to what are the main message that you're trying to send to the market. And in this area, we need to have a very clear understanding of our unique selling proposition. So what will be the main idea that you're going to use to reach our audiences? And finally, what will be the degree of standardization versus adaptation of this unique selling proposition worldwide? At the same time, you need to have a clear understanding of the media decisions. So the media decisions usually will be guided by decisions of the reach. So how many people are you planning to reach? How many times you're going to reach this audience? Basically the frequency. These two factors the product of the multiplication of these two factors will be what we call the gross rating point, or GRP. That is a general index for measuring the total the raw impact of your campaigns. And also we need to be aware of the real impact of our campaigns. So what kind of impact what we want to send, we want to create in the market. For instance, some type of media will be very good to bring more awareness, and others will be better to create more engagement, and others can be more useful for having a real sale, like fostering the sales in the retailers, for instance. And of course, take into account these factors, these elements for your decision, you need to make a choice of your media mix. So what will be the different media and channels that you're going to use, what will be your investments, and also what will be a schedule of these media for reaching your audiences. And when you also have that, you need to choose what will be to choose your agency. So who will be the responsible for creating the campaigns, creating the videos, the print ads, and so on, and managing your social media. So the agency selection is a very important decision, since you can have a mix of national or international agencies working together, working for a given company, and sometimes you're going to have preference you're going to prefer to use a national agency or an international agency. And finally, after these decisions, you need to have some elements to assess the performance of your campaign. Is the advertisement evaluation. So what was the real impact of your campaign? Have you tested your campaign? What was the result? And also, uh, what are the expected results and how did you reach these results after your campaign? And finally, also to analyze the results in sales. And sometimes you can use some elements that I'm going to explain later in this course. In this video, I tried to present the main concept related to global marketing communications and also the steps that are necessary to create international marketing campaign, international communication campaign. So this is it. See you in the next videos. Bye.